Next up, we have the quadruped hip car. So we're going to do this from the all fours position, starting off with a neutral spine, making sure the rest of the body does not move. From here, we're going to start by extending one hip. So we're focusing on driving the heel back, maintaining a 90-degree bend at the knee. Make sure you don't go too high where we start to feel that lower back overextend or dip to the floor. From here, we're going to then pull the leg away from the body, then slightly rotating the hip. Think about turning the heel towards the floor so the leg is parallel with the ground. We're going to then flex the hip by pulling the knee in towards the elbow and the chest. And we're going to bring that knee back in line with the torso or underneath the torso, and then we go back up into extension by driving the heel back up towards the ceiling. Next up is the hip car. So we can extend one arm out to the side, keep the hands on the rib cage, keep your body nice and braced as we move through this motion. We're going to start by sweeping the leg across the body towards the midline. Then we're going to bring the knee up towards the chest and then rotate the hip by pulling the heel towards that opposite hip. Then we want to pull the leg away from the body or away from the middle, abducting the hip without letting the torso rotate with us. Then we're going to internally rotate that hip. Think about turning that heel towards the ceiling, trying to bring the leg parallel to the floor. And we extend the hip, lightly kicking that leg behind and heel to the back wall to feel that tension in the glutes and hamstrings. Then we're going to bring the leg back to the midline of the body. In reverse, we're then going to start by extending the hip back. So again, think about driving the heel towards the back wall. We're going to then abduct, so pull the leg away from the midline of the body again. Once we're there, we're going to externally rotate that hip by turning the hip and heel towards the floor. And then we're going to bring that leg back in towards the center midline of the body, extend the knee, and bring the leg back out towards the side. Now, as we go through this motion, avoid leaning forward or overextending the spine by leaning back, and also try to minimize any rotation through the torso and the pelvis. Next up, we have the knee or tibial car. So here we're going to start off seated, one leg fully straight, the leg we're working on. We're going to have that knee slightly bent with the heel planted on the ground and the ankle flexed towards us. From there, we're going to keep the heel driven down into the ground. We're going to start by externally rotating that knee or tibia by thinking about driving and turning the whole leg away from the body without the hip moving. From there, we're going to extend the knee by straightening out the leg until we're fully extended. At the top, we're then going to internally rotate the tibia, turning the leg and foot in towards the midline of the body. Then we flex the knee, bending at the knee joint, bring the heel back towards the floor. Then we're going to reverse that motion, starting off by extending the knee at the top, externally rotating the tibia, and then flexing the knee, bringing the heel back down towards the floor. Now, as we work through those rotations, again, make sure that the knee is not moving side to side and the hip is not moving, as well as try to remain as much of a static torso as we can. Next up, we have the ankle car. So we're going to have one leg extended out, a side we're working on. We're going to start with that knee flexed. We're going to have the hands placed just underneath the patella there to keep the knee locked in place. Lifting the foot off the floor, we're going to start by plantar flexing the ankle. So think about reaching the foot as far away from the body as we can, creating a stretch to the front of the foot. Then we're going to start by swiveling the foot in. Think about sweeping the big toe across the floor, and then we're going to flex the ankle towards us, pulling the top of the foot towards the leg itself. Then we're going to rotate away from the body towards the pinky toe and then flex forwards again. Then we can reverse this motion as well, starting off in a similar motion of flexing the leg forwards, then rotating towards the little toe and the pinky side, and then flexing the ankle back towards the top, and then rotating it back towards the midline of the body. As we perform this motion, think about creating a smooth rotation and circle through the ankle joint. Next up, we have our toe cars. We're going to work on lifting the big toe and then also lifting the four small little toes. So to begin, we're going to have that heel planted underneath the knee, foot flat on the ground. Try to keep the four small toes down and planted as we lift the big toe up, and then we lower that back down. Then we're going to keep the big toe planted on the foot as we try to lift and raise the small four toes off the floor, and then we lower those as well. Then we can also try and lift all five of them together, and then we're going to try and spread the toes apart. Starting at the little toe, think about trying to place the little toe down first and then the next subsequent toe after it as well, trying to separate and spread them apart with every single move.